I'm writing this because I need someone to know what happened. Someone needs to understand how a mother can be destroyed by her own son in front of 200 people, while her husband's body is still warm in a casket 10 feet away. Before we continue, comment where you're watching from, and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to see how far our stories are reaching. My name is Brenda Callahan. I'm 68 years old. 3 days ago, I buried my husband of 43 years. Today, I'm living in a 40-a-night motel, and my son is selling the house I built with my own 2 hands. Let me go back to the beginning, the real beginning. It was March 17th, 2024, St. Patrick's Day. My husband Thomas died at 6:47 in the morning after an 11-month fight with pancreatic cancer, the same cancer that killed his father. We spent $120,000 on treatments that didn't work. I held his hand while he took his last breath. He whispered, "Take care of our boys." Our boys, Gregory, 42, and Dennis, 45. I should have known something was wrong when Gregory insisted on handling all the funeral arrangements. "Mom, you're in shock. Let me take care of everything." His wife Stephanie hugged me, smelling like expensive perfume that cost more than my grocery budget. "We've got you, Mom." The funeral was scheduled for March 20th at Sacred Heart Church in Charleston. I wore my black dress, the same one I'd worn to my mother's funeral in 1998. I couldn't afford a new one. The cancer treatments had drained our savings account down to $300-400. I sat in the front pew between my sons. Dennis kept checking his phone. Gregory kept glancing at his watch. Stephanie sat on Gregory's other side, filming everything on her phone. "For memories," she whispered. Father Murphy gave a beautiful eulogy about Thomas, how he'd built furniture for half the families in Charleston, how he'd taught woodworking to troubled kids at the community center for free, how he'd constructed our house with his bare hands after Hurricane Hugo destroyed everything we owned in 1992. That house, 847 Magnolia Street, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, wraparound porch. Thomas laid every brick. I sanded every plank of wood. We planted 14 rose bushes in the front yard. We carved our initials in the oak tree out back. Then Gregory stood up. "I'd like to say a few words," he announced. He walked to the pulpit carrying a laptop. My stomach dropped. Father Murphy looked confused but stepped aside. Gregory opened the laptop and connected it to the church's projection system. Behind Thomas's casket, a PowerPoint presentation appeared on the massive screen. The first slide showed our house, my house, in full color. "Before we continue," Gregory said into the microphone, his voice echoing through the church, "I want to share some exciting news. Dad would have been so proud." He clicked to the next slide. It showed our house with a red X through it. The next slide showed a 3D rendering, a modern condominium complex, 12 units, glass and steel, completely erasing every trace of the home Thomas built. "I've sold the family home for $387,500, Gregory announced. The exact amount Mom paid for the land after Hurricane Hugo, adjusted for inflation. We're breaking ground on Callahan luxury condominiums next month. This is the future Dad would have wanted. Smart investment, generational wealth." The church went silent. You could hear the air conditioning humming. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. I stared at the screen, at my kitchen, digitally demolished, at the bedroom where I'd nursed 2 babies, at the porch where Thomas proposed to me in 1981. Stephanie was doing a TikTok live stream, I realized. Her phone was pointed at me. She had a heart filter on. "Say goodbye to the old house and hello to our new Miami apartment," she sing-songed to her followers. I stood up. My legs felt like they were filled with concrete, but I stood. I walked to the pulpit. Gregory smiled at me, thinking I was going to hug him or congratulate him. I snatched the contract from his hands. He'd actually brought the paperwork to his father's funeral, and I ripped it in half, then in half again. The pieces fluttered to the floor like snow. "Your father built this house with his own hands," I said into the microphone. My voice didn't shake. "You destroy it with your own greed." The silence was different now, heavier. Gregory's face turned red. "Mom, you don't understand." "I understand," I said. I looked at him. Really looked at him. I didn't recognize the man standing there. "I hope you kept everything you signed, son. Everything." His face went pale, just for a second. Stephanie stopped filming. Dennis stared at his shoes. I walked back to my seat, sat down next to my husband's casket, put my hand on the polished wood. Nobody applauded. Nobody said a word. Father Murphy cleared his throat and continued with the service, but I didn't hear any of it. I was doing math in my head. $387,500. That's what I paid for the land in October 1992. Well, adjusted for inflation, it would have been about $180,000 back then. I worked 2 jobs for 3 years to save that money. I cleaned office buildings from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m., then opened my fabric shop at 8 a.m. Thomas and I built that house ourselves because we couldn't afford contractors. We lived in the Riverside Motel, room 14, for 7 months while we worked. Gregory was 9 years old. Dennis was 12. They helped carry bricks. I sewed 47 wedding dresses for free. 47. So we could afford the materials. Tiles, lumber, nails, paint. Every bride who couldn't afford a dress got one from me, and in exchange, their families helped us build. That house wasn't just wood and brick. It was 200 people's love. It was community. It was Thomas's dream. And Gregory sold it like it was nothing. After the burial, people avoided me. They didn't know what to say. Stephanie posted the video of me ripping the contract. Within 3 hours, it had 847 likes. The caption, "Mother-in-law in denial, LOL." I went home, to my home, and locked myself in the bedroom. That night, I found something. Thomas's toolbox in the garage. Inside, wrapped in an oil-stained rag, was a letter dated 2019. "Brenda, if anything happens to me, the house documents are in the safety deposit box at First National. Box 428. Key is in my tackle box. Don't let the boys touch anything until you've seen a lawyer. I love you. T." I didn't sleep that night because I realized something Gregory didn't know. I never signed anything. The morning after the funeral, I woke up at 6 a.m. to the sound of a truck backing up into my driveway. I was still in my black dress. I'd fallen asleep on top of the covers, Thomas's letter clutched in my hand. My mouth tasted like copper and grief. I looked out the bedroom window. A U-Haul, 26 feet long, was parked in front of my house. 2 men in gray uniforms were unloading boxes. I ran downstairs in my bare feet, threw open the front door. Stephanie was standing in my living room directing the movers. She wore yoga pants and a crop top that said "Boss Babe" in rhinestones. She had her phone mounted on a tripod, filming. "Morning, Brenda," she said brightly. "We're just getting started on the packing. The new owners want to move in by Friday, so we've got to hustle. Get out of my house." My voice came out steady, cold. "Your house?" Stephanie laughed. She picked up a folder from my coffee table. My coffee table. The one Thomas built in 1995. According to the transfer documents filed with Charleston County, this property belongs to Callahan Development LLC. That's Gregory's company. Has been for 3 weeks. She handed me a paper. I read it. Transfer of deed. Dated February 28th, 2024. My signature at the bottom. Except I never signed it. "This is forged," I said. "Is it?" Stephanie tilted her head. "Because we have witnesses. Dennis signed an affidavit confirming your mental competency at the time of signing. Your doctor, Dr. Patterson, provided medical clearance." She smiled. "Everything's legal, Brenda." The movers started wrapping my lamp in bubble wrap. The lamp I'd bought at a garage sale in 1987. The lamp I'd read bedtime stories to my boys under. "You have 72 hours to vacate," Stephanie said. "That's actually generous. Gregory wanted to give you 24, but I convinced him to be nice." And she said nice like it was a favor she was doing me. I called Dennis. He answered on the 5th ring. "Mom, I'm with a patient." "You witnessed a forged document," I said. "You committed fraud." Silence. Then, "Mom, it wasn't forged. You signed it. You were just confused." The grief, "I was never confused," I said. "I never signed anything. Dr. Patterson examined you on February 26th. He diagnosed early-stage dementia. It's all documented. Gregory has medical and financial power of attorney. It's for your own protection. I haven't seen Dr. Patterson since my annual checkup in November. And I don't have dementia. Mom, Dennis's voice got quieter. Just accept it. Greg needs this money. He's in trouble. Real trouble. Stephanie's got debts. Her OnlyFans premium subscribers dropped by 60% last quarter, and she owes $40,000 to content studios. He's desperate. Don't fight this. Her OnlyFans? I couldn't process it. You let your brother sell my house to pay for his wife's OnlyFans debts? Mom, it's more complicated than... He sighed. Look, just take the money Gregory's offering. He'll give you $50,000 to relocate. That's fair. $50,000? For a house worth $387,500? You're not thinking clearly. Sign the release and move on. He hung up. I stood in my kitchen. The kitchen where I'd taught Gregory to make pancakes when he was 6, where Dennis had done his medical school applications at the table, and I wanted to scream. Instead, I went to my computer, opened my email. There were 37 messages I'd never seen before, all sent from my email address, to Gregory, to his lawyer, to the county clerk's office. I, Brenda Callahan, hereby agree to transfer property located at 847 Magnolia Street. I confirm my desire to liquidate assets and enter assisted living. I authorize my son Gregory Callahan to act on my behalf in all financial matters. I never wrote these, never even saw them. I checked the metadata. All sent from an IP address I didn't recognize. All between February 15th and February 27th. While Thomas was dying. While I was sleeping in a chair next to his hospital bed. I printed everything. 43 pages. Then I drove to Dr. Patterson's office. The receptionist, new girl, maybe 22, looked at me with pity. Mrs. Callahan, Dr. Patterson can't discuss your case without an appointment. I don't have a case. I haven't been here since November. She clicked her computer. According to our records, you were here on February 26th for a cognitive assessment. Dr. Patterson diagnosed you with early Alzheimer's and recommended supervised care. I was at the hospital on February 26th, all day with my husband. He died 3 weeks later. She blinked. But, the chart says. Can I see it? I can't release medical records without authorization from your power of attorney, which is, she checked, Gregory Callahan. Of course I left. Sat in my car in the parking lot. My hands were shaking so hard I couldn't get the key in the ignition. A text message came through from a number I didn't recognize. A link to TikTok. I clicked it. Stephanie had posted a compilation video. The title, Helping My Difficult MIL Downsize, A Journey. It had 340,000 views in 6 hours. The video was clips of me at Christmas 2023 looking tired. I'd been up all night with Thomas, who'd vomited blood at 3 a.m. Me at Easter, snapping at Gregory for being on his phone during Grace, because he'd been texting while I was saying a prayer for Thomas's healing. Me last week crying at the kitchen table, because I'd just gotten the hospice paperwork. Stephanie had edited it all together with sad music and text overlays. When your MIL refuses to accept help, sometimes loving someone means making hard choices for them. Dementia is so hard on families. The comments, OMG, you're so patient with her. My grandma was like this, total denial. She seems really aggressive. You're doing the right thing. Poor thing doesn't even know what's happening. One comment stood out. That's so sad, but also brave of you to share. Using code Stephanie15 at MemoryMax, supplements for 15% off. She had a sponsorship deal. A supplement company for memory and cognitive health was paying her to pretend I had dementia. The video had earned her $8,000 in 1 week. I know because the company's offer was visible in a screenshot she'd accidentally included, then deleted, but people had screen grabbed it. I drove home, back to 847 Magnolia Street. There was a chain-link fence around my property, 8 feet tall, padlocked. 2 security guards stood at the gate. Both had holsters. I got out of my car. I need to get my things. The older guard checked his clipboard. Name? Brenda Callahan. This is my house. Not according to my paperwork, ma'am. Property owner is listed as Callahan Development, LLC. You're listed as a trespasser. A trespasser? I've lived here for 32 years. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step back. I need my medication, my photo albums. My husband's ashes are in there. Ma'am? The younger guard put his hand on his belt, near his gun. Step back, now. I could see inside my house through the fence. The movers were carrying out furniture, my couch, my dining table. Gregory was directing them, pointing at a truck. "Gregory!" I shouted. "Gregory, please!" He glanced at me, then turned away. Stephanie came to the fence. She filmed me on her phone. "Brenda, we already packed your essentials. They're at the Riverside Motel, room 14. Gregory paid for 3 nights. The Riverside Motel, where Thomas and I had lived in 1992 after the hurricane destroyed everything, where we'd eaten ramen noodles and dreamed about building a real home. "You can't do this," I whispered. "We already did." Stephanie blew me a kiss. "Bye, Brenda." I stood there until the sun went down. The guards didn't move. At 8:47 p.m., they turned on floodlights. I could see Gregory inside my house, drinking beer, measuring walls for demolition. I got back in my car, drove to the Riverside Motel. The sign still flickered the same way it had in 1992. Vacancy. 40-night, HBO. I asked for room 14. The clerk, different person, but same bored expression, handed me a key. Someone already paid for 3 nights. Checkouts on Friday at 11 a.m. Friday. The same day the new owners were moving in. I unlocked room 14. The same room. The same water stain on the ceiling shaped like Florida. The same smell of mildew and highway exhaust. On the bed, 3 cardboard boxes, my clothes, my toothbrush, a framed photo of Thomas and me on our wedding day. Nothing else. My phone buzzed. A text from Dennis. "Mom, stop making this harder. Greg's trying to help you. Accept it, or things will get worse. I promise you, they will get worse." I sat on the bed. The springs squeaked the same way they had 32 years ago. I opened the box with my clothes. At the bottom, wrapped in a towel, Thomas's letter, the safety deposit box key, and a business card I'd saved from 1997. The card was yellowed and bent. Community Legal Aid. Amanda Fisher, attorney. I'd represented Amanda's mother in a custody case once. No, wait, Amanda's mother. I'd made her wedding dress for free in 1997. She was 19, pregnant, broke. I'd stayed up 3 nights straight sewing. She'd cried when she tried it on. The card had a phone number handwritten on the back. A different number, added later in different ink. "In case you ever need me. Amanda, 2015. It was Saturday night, 11:47 p.m. I dialed anyway. It rang 4 times. I was about to hang up when, "Hello?" A woman's voice. Tired. Cautious. "Amanda Fisher?" "Yes, who is this?" "This is Brenda Callahan. You won't remember me, but I made your mother's wedding dress in 1997. My voice cracked. "I need help. My son is stealing my house. I have 72 hours before they demolish it. I don't have money for a lawyer. I don't have anywhere to go. Mrs. Callahan." Her voice changed. Sharper. Awake. "I remember you. My mother talks about you all the time. You saved her life when no one else would help." A pause. "Where are you right now?" "Riverside Motel, room 14. Stay there. I'm coming to you. Don't sign anything. Don't talk to anyone. I'll be there in 20 minutes. She hung up. I sat on the bed in room 14, in the same room where my life had fallen apart once before, and I realized something. This time, I wasn't going to just survive. This time, I was going to fight. Amanda arrived at 12:14 a.m. I know because I'd been watching the digital clock on the nightstand, watching the minutes crawl. She was 36 years old now. The last time I'd seen her, she was 8, wearing the flower girl dress I'd made to match her mother's wedding gown. Now she wore jeans and a Harvard Law sweatshirt. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun. She sat on the other bed, the one that sagged in the middle, and spread my documents across the floral comforter that probably hadn't been washed since 1992. For 20 minutes she didn't speak, just read. Her expression got darker with every page. Finally, "Mrs. Callahan, this is one of the most sophisticated fraud schemes I've seen in 15 years of practice." Sophisticated? Your son didn't just forge a signature. He created an entire false reality. She held up a page. "This is a property transfer document dated February 28th. Your signature looks perfect because it is perfect. He used a 3D scanner on a check you wrote in 1998. I can tell by the ink pressure patterns and the slight tremor in your hand that matches your signature from 26 years ago. She pulled out another document. This is a medical evaluation from Dr. Patterson. Except Dr. Patterson never wrote it. See this? She pointed to a letterhead. The phone number is off by 1 digit. Your son created a fake medical practice document. But Dennis said, your other son, Dennis, didn't just witness falsely. He created a complete fraudulent medical record. She showed me a thick file. Cognitive assessment, MRI results, prescription recommendations, all of it fake, but sophisticated enough that a county clerk wouldn't catch it. My stomach turned. Dennis is a doctor. He took an oath. He's also going to lose his medical license when this comes out. Amanda's voice was cold, professional. He falsified medical documents. That's not just fraud. That's a felony that'll cost him everything. Can we stop the demolition? It's Monday. Tomorrow. She checked her watch. It's 12:43 a.m. Sunday morning. We have 36 hours. She started typing on her laptop. I'm filing an emergency restraining order. But Mrs. Callahan, I need you to understand something. Even if we stop the demolition, this is going to get worse before it gets better. She was right. Sunday morning, I tried to call the 47 women whose wedding dresses I'd made. Women I'd stayed up all night sewing for. Women whose babies I'd held. Women who'd called me at 2 a.m. crying about their marriages, their sick children, their dying parents. 47 numbers. I called every single one. 38 didn't answer. 6 told me they couldn't get involved. 3 told me to stop harassing them. 1, Patricia Morrison, now Patricia Vanderbilt, married to a real estate developer, sent me a text. Brenda, I saw Stephanie's video. I'm so sorry about your condition. Dementia is heartbreaking, but honestly, you were always a bit controlling. Maybe this is for the best. Praying for you. I read that text 5 times. Controlling. She'd called me controlling. I'd made her dress in 1995. She was 17, pregnant, kicked out by her parents. I'd let her sleep on my couch for 2 months, fed her, helped her get her GED, made her a dress that cost $800 in materials, didn't charge her a penny, and now I was controlling. I threw my phone across the room. It hit the wall and cracked. Amanda picked it up, looked at the broken screen, and handed it back to me. Save that text. It'll matter later. Sunday afternoon, an email arrived. The subject line, Property Transition Update, 847 Magnolia Street. I almost deleted it. Amanda stopped me. Open it. 8 photos attached. My garden. The 14 rose bushes Thomas and I had planted in 1993. Each bush represented something. Our anniversary, Gregory's birth, Dennis's graduation, Thomas's cancer remission in 2019. All of them ripped out, roots torn, flowers scattered across dirt. The fountain Thomas had built from stones we'd collected on our honeymoon at Myrtle Beach. Smashed, sledgehammer marks visible, the oak tree where we'd carved our initials in 1982, a chainsaw lying next to the trunk, half cut through, the vegetable garden where I'd grown tomatoes every summer for 30 years, bulldozed flat, the caption under the photos, site preparation completed ahead of schedule, demolition begins Monday 6 a.m. Callahan Luxury Condominiums. Coming soon. I couldn't breathe. Literally couldn't pull air into my lungs. Amanda grabbed my shoulders. Mrs. Callahan, Brenda, look at me. Breathe. In through your nose, out through your mouth. I breathed, but I couldn't stop seeing those rose bushes torn out of the ground. We're going to stop this, Amanda said. The judge granted the restraining order. Demolition is postponed pending investigation. When did? 20 minutes ago. I've already sent the order to the construction company, the county, and your son's attorney. She showed me her phone. Gregory is being notified right now. My phone rang. Gregory. Don't answer, Amanda said. It rang 11 times. Stopped. Started again. I answered. What the hell did you do? Gregory was screaming, not yelling. Screaming. You filed a restraining order? Do you have any idea how much money I've already spent? The contractors are on site. The demolition crew is getting paid whether they work or not. You're costing me $4,000 a day. Good, I said. Good? Good? Mom, I'm trying to save you. You're sick. You can't take care of yourself. I'm not sick, Gregory. You forged. I didn't forge anything. You signed it. You just don't remember. That's what dementia means. I don't have dementia. Yes, you do. Dennis confirmed it. Doctor, Patterson diagnosed it. You're a danger to yourself. His voice cracked. Mom, please. I'm begging you. Drop the restraining order. Let me do this. If I don't get this money, I'm finished. Stephanie's going to leave me. The investors are going to sue me. I'll lose everything. You've already taken everything from me. I'm giving you $50,000. That's more than fair for an old woman who's going to be in a nursing home in 6 months anyway. The line went quiet. I think he realized what he'd said. Mom, I didn't mean... I hung up. Amanda was watching me. He just confessed. To fraud. To planning to institutionalize you. I recorded that call. You recorded... South Carolina is a one-party consent state. You consented by letting me listen. That recording is admissible. She saved the file. He's done. But I didn't feel victorious. I felt empty. That night, I couldn't sleep. The motel room was freezing. The heater rattled but didn't work. I wrapped myself in the thin blanket that smelled like bleach and cigarettes. At 2 a.m., I got hungry. There was a vending machine outside. $1, $50 for a pack of crackers. I checked my wallet. $23 in cash. That was all I had. I walked to the gas station 3 blocks away instead. Open 24 hours. The instant ramen was $0. 89. The same brand Thomas used to buy. He'd always kept 12 packs in the pantry for emergencies. After the hurricane, we'd eaten ramen for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 4 months straight. I bought 3 packs. Spent $2.67. Back in the room, I boiled water in the coffee maker. It took 40 minutes because the heating element was weak. Poured it over the noodles in the styrofoam cup. The smell hit me like a punch. Artificial chicken flavor. Sodium. That specific chemical smell of cheap food. I was back in 1992, in this same room. Thomas asleep on the bed after working a 16-hour construction shift. Gregory and Dennis sharing the other bed, their small bodies curled together. Me sitting on the floor, eating ramen at 3 a.m., crying silently so I wouldn't wake them. I'd promised myself we'd never be that poor again, that hungry, that desperate. And now here I was, 32 years later, same room, same ramen, same fear. I ate the noodles. They tasted like failure. My phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. A link to Stephanie's TikTok, new video, posted 1 hour ago, already had 890,000 views. The title, When Your Mill Becomes a Karen, a PSA. It showed the scene from the motel parking lot, me screaming at the security guards, my hair wild, my face red, my voice hoarse. Stephanie had edited in sound effects, cartoon boings when I gestured, a dramatic chipmunk scream over my voice, laughing emojis. The caption, some people just can't accept reality. Mental illness is real, y'all. Sending love and light. Toxic family, boundaries, matter, dementia awareness. The comments were worse. She seems dangerous, TBH. This is elder abuse, but like reverse? When the elder abuses the family? My mom has dementia too and acts exactly like this. You're so brave for sharing. One comment, is she going to hurt someone? Over 1,000 likes on that one. Stephanie had replied, we're taking precautions. Safety first. I looked at myself in the mirror above the sink. Gray hair uncombed, eyes red from crying, wrinkles deeper than they'd been a week ago. I looked exactly like what Stephanie wanted me to look like. Crazy, demented, dangerous. I looked like someone who deserved to lose everything. Amanda called at 6:47 a.m. Mrs. Callahan, get dressed. We're going to court at 9 a.m. I found something. What? Evidence. Real evidence. The kind that doesn't just stop a demolition. The kind that puts people in prison. I got dressed. Same black dress from the funeral. Only dress I had. I walked outside. The sun was rising over Charleston. Monday morning. The morning my house was supposed to be destroyed. I got in Amanda's car. She handed me coffee and a folder. What is this? I asked. Your son's stupidity, she said, and your salvation. Amanda spread the documents across the courthouse conference room table like a poker player revealing a royal flush. Your son didn't just commit fraud in South Carolina, she said. He committed fraud in 3 states. Federal fraud. I stared at the papers, bank statements, wire transfers, corporate filings. Callahan Development LLC isn't a real company, Amanda continued. It's a shell. Gregory used it to funnel money from investors in Florida and Georgia. He promised them 40% returns on luxury condo developments that never existed. How much money? $890,000 from 17 different investors. Elderly people mostly. Retirement savings. My stomach dropped. He stole from old people to steal my house? He stole from old people to cover the hole he dug stealing from other old people. Amanda pointed to a spreadsheet. He's been running this scheme for 3 years. Your house was supposed to be his first legitimate project. Proof the company was real. But he'd already spent the construction money on Stephanie's lifestyle. She showed me Instagram screenshots. Stephanie in Dubai, Stephanie in Paris, Stephanie wearing a $12,000 Cartier bracelet, all posted between January and March 2024. The $387,500 from your house was supposed to pay back the Florida investors before they discovered the fraud. But it's too late. The FBI has been investigating for 2 months. The FBI? One of the investors' sons is a federal prosecutor. He flagged the transactions. Amanda smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Gregory is about to have a very bad day. She pulled out her phone. In fact, it's happening right now. What's happening? Watch. She opened TikTok. Stephanie's account. Live video. 12,400 viewers. Stephanie sat in my living room, on camera. She wore a pink blazer and had a ring light set up. Behind her, I could see my kitchen, my counters, my walls. Okay, babes. So today's topic is super important, Stephanie was saying. How to set boundaries with toxic family members. I'm going to break this down into 5 steps because you guys need this content. A knock at the door. Off camera. Stephanie frowned. Hold on, loves. She got up, walked to the door. The camera stayed on the empty chair. Her voice distant. Yes, can I help you? A man's voice. I'm looking for Gregory Callahan. He's not here right now. Can I take a message? Are you Stephanie Callahan? Yes. Why, I'm Special Agent Morrison with the FBI. I have a warrant for your husband's arrest. Is he on the premises? Silence. Then Stephanie's voice, higher. What? No, there must be some mistake. Ma'am, we also have a warrant to search this property. Please step aside. The camera caught movement. Stephanie backed into frame, her face white. Behind her, 3 people in FBI windbreakers entered. The live chat exploded. Wait, what? Is this real? OMG, OMG, OMG? She's being raided, Lummo! Stephanie looked at the camera, realized it was still on, lunged for it. The screen went black, but 12,000 people had watched it, and they were recording. Amanda refreshed the page. It'll be on Twitter in 30 seconds. She was right. Video clips everywhere. Influencers' FBI raid streamed live. Karma caught on camera. TikTok star's husband wanted by FBI. Within an hour, it had 2-3 million views. My phone rang. Gregory. Amanda nodded. I answered on speaker. Mom. His voice was shaking. Mom, please. They're saying I'm being arrested. They're saying federal charges. This is insane. I didn't do anything wrong. I need you to tell them. Tell them what, Gregory? Tell them you agreed to sell the house. Tell them you wanted this. If they think I forged documents, they'll think I forged the investor contracts too. Did you? Silence. Gregory, did you forge the investor contracts? I had to. Stephanie needed. The trip to Dubai was for business, for her brand, and the Cartier bracelet was an investment piece. Mom, you don't understand how influencer marketing works? You stole $1 million. I was going to pay it back, with the condo profits. That's how business works. You take money, you invest it, you make more money. You took my house. I was going to buy you a nice apartment, somewhere clean and modern, with a doorman. You're so ungrateful. There was noise in the background, shouting, Sir, put your hands behind your back. Wait! No, I'm on the phone. Mom! Mom! Tell them to stop. I'm your son. You can't let them do this to me. Gregory Callahan, you're under arrest for wire fraud, bank fraud, and interstate fraud. You have the right to remain silent. Mom, please! The line went dead. I sat there. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from something else, something that felt like lightning in my chest. Amanda was already typing. The arrest will be public record in an hour. Local news will have it by 2 p.m. Your restraining order is now permanent. The house is yours again. What about Stephanie? She's being questioned as an accomplice. The Cartier bracelet was purchased with wire-transferred investor funds. That's evidence of money laundering. Amanda looked up. She's going to prison, Mrs. Callahan. And Dennis? The medical board is opening an investigation. Falsifying medical records is a felony. He'll lose his license, possibly face charges. I should have felt happy, victorious. Instead, I felt hollow. That afternoon, Stephanie posted one more video. Not on TikTok, on Instagram stories. She was crying, mascara running, no filter. I just want everyone to know that I had no idea what Gregory was doing. I'm a victim here too. He lied to me. He used me. I'm cooperating fully with the FBI. Please don't judge me for his crimes. I'm just a girl trying to build a brand and live my truth. Sending love to all my followers. I'll get through this. The comments were not sympathetic. Girl, you're going to jail. Live my truth in a federal prison lol. How are you going to build a brand in an orange jumpsuit? By 5 p.m., her sponsorship with Memory Max supplements had been terminated. Not just terminated. They sued her for breach of contract and damage to brand reputation. $50,000 in damages. Her Instagram account, which had 340,000 followers at noon, was down to 180,000 by dinner. Companies were deleting their tagged photos with her. Brands were issuing statements. We do not condone illegal activity. Her TikTok account was suspended for violating community guidelines. Everything she'd built by destroying me was gone in 6 hours. Amanda and I went back to the motel. She ordered Chinese food. I couldn't eat. At 8 p.m., the local news played the story. Local developer arrested in multi-state fraud scheme. They showed Gregory in handcuffs, being led into a police car. His face was red. He was crying. They showed my house. The scheme began when Callahan allegedly forged documents to illegally transfer his elderly mother's home. They interviewed a neighbor, Mrs. Patterson from 3 houses down. Brenda is such a sweet woman. I can't believe her own son would do this to her. Mrs. Patterson hadn't returned my phone call on Sunday. The news showed Stephanie's live stream. The moment the FBI walked in, they blurred her face, but you could hear her voice. There must be some mistake. The anchor's voiceover. Stephanie Callahan, a social media influencer with over 300,000 followers, is being investigated as a potential accomplice. The next story was about a lost dog. My son's life destroyed in 90 seconds. Then a Cocker Spaniel named Biscuit who'd been found in a Walmart parking lot. I turned off the TV. Amanda was watching me. How do you feel? I don't know. That's normal. Is it? She packed up her laptop. Mrs. Callahan, you need to decide something. Your son is facing federal charges. He'll probably get 15 to 20 years. You're the victim. Your testimony will be crucial to the prosecution. You want me to testify against my own son? I want you to tell the truth. She paused at the door. But there's something else. Gregory's lawyer will offer a deal. Reduced sentence if he cooperates, pays restitution, pleads guilty. The prosecutor will ask your opinion. You'll have a choice. Maximum sentence or mercy. What would you do? I'm not his mother. Amanda left. I sat alone in room 14, the same room where I'd rebuilt my life once before. My phone buzzed. A text from Dennis. Mom, Greg called me from jail. He's begging me to convince you to help him. He says you're the only one who can save him now. He says he's sorry. He says he'll do anything. Please. He's my brother. Our brother. Think about what Dad would want. I read that text 5 times. What Dad would want. I picked up my phone, dialed Amanda. Mrs. Callahan? I want to see my house, I said. Tomorrow. First thing. Before I decide anything, I need to see it. I'll arrange it. I hung up, lay on the bed, stared at the water stain on the ceiling shaped like Florida, and I thought about what Thomas would want. Not for Gregory. For me. The judge approved my request to visit the house at 9 a.m. Tuesday morning. Gregory's lawyer filed an emergency motion. His client wanted to be present, to explain himself to his mother. Amanda advised against it. He's going to manipulate you. Let him try, I said. They brought Gregory in a prisoner transport van. Orange jumpsuit, handcuffs, 2 marshals. He'd lost weight. His face was gray. He had a bruise under his left eye. Someone had hit him in jail. When he saw me standing in front of 847 Magnolia Street, he started crying. Mom! I didn't respond. The marshal unlocked the front door. 30 minutes, we'll be right outside. The house was empty. Everything gone. Our furniture, our pictures, even the curtain rods. My footsteps echoed on the hardwood floor Thomas had installed in 1994. Each plank had taken him 45 minutes to lay perfectly. Gregory shuffled behind me, chains rattling. Mom, please say something. I walked through the living room. The walls had holes where I'd hung family photos. 23 years of Christmas mornings, birthday parties, graduations. I wanted to show you something, Gregory said quietly. Before you decide, about me, about what I am. I turned. What you are is a thief. Yes. He didn't argue. But I want you to understand why. We walked to the kitchen. He knelt on the floor, awkward with the handcuffs, and pulled at the corner of the linoleum near the sink. This has been loose for months, he said. I kept meaning to fix it, but I was too busy with the business, with Stephanie, with everything. He pulled harder. The linoleum came up, revealing the plywood underneath. And there, carved into the wood with what must have been a nail or screwdriver, were words. For my son Gregory. Never sell your soul for money. With love, Dad. 1989. I couldn't breathe. Gregory traced the letters with his finger. I found this yesterday. The FBI let me come collect personal items. This was under our feet this whole time. He looked up at me, tears streaming. He knew. Even then, he knew what I was. You weren't anything yet. You were 12 years old in 1989. I was already stealing from you, taking money from your purse. $5 here, $10 there. I thought you didn't notice. He laughed bitterly. Dad noticed. He carved this message. He was trying to save me. I knelt beside him. My knees cracked. I put my hand on the carved wood. Thomas's handwriting. Shaky but deliberate. Why didn't you listen? I whispered. Because Stephanie made me feel like I was somebody. Gregory's voice broke. I was 40 years old, Mom. Still living in Dad's shadow. Still Thomas Callahan's son. She made me feel powerful. Important. She said I could be more than a carpenter's kid. Your father built half this town. I know. He slammed his cuffed hands on the floor. I know. And I hated him for it. Everyone loved him. Good old Thomas. Salt of the earth. I could never be that. So I tried to be something else. Something bigger. By stealing. By being smart. By making deals. He stopped. It doesn't matter. The point is, Stephanie knew. She knew I was weak, and she used it. Don't blame your wife. She blackmailed me, Mom. He looked at me straight. I wanted to stop. Last December, when Dad got really sick, I wanted to stop everything. Pay back the investors. Come clean. But Stephanie said if I didn't get the money, she'd release videos. What videos? Recordings she'd made, of me. Edited to look like I was hitting her, screaming at her. She'd film me when I was stressed, yelling about bills, and then edit out her parts, make it look like abuse. He laughed without humor. She showed me the videos. They looked real. She said she'd go to the police, to the news, ruin me, unless I got her the money for her brand. My hands went cold. How much money? $340,000. Not $220,000 like Dennis told you. $340,000. That's what she spent in 14 months. Dubai, Paris, Milan, designer clothes, jewelry, all for Instagram photos. He wiped his face with his shoulder. Your house was my last chance. I thought if I could just get that money, pay her off, she'd leave me alone. She's your wife. She's a parasite. He said it flatly. I know that now, but by the time I figured it out, I was already in too deep. The front door opened. Dennis walked in, not escorted, not in handcuffs, just walked in. "What are you doing here?" I asked. Dennis looked terrible, unshaven, shirt wrinkled. "I need to talk to you, both of you." The marshal started to intervene, but I waved him back. "Let him speak." Dennis pulled an envelope from his jacket. "Mom, I have $50,000 in here. Cash. It's yours. All I'm asking is you drop the charges against Greg. Let him take a plea deal. 5 years instead of 20. He's my brother. Our brother." "Where did you get $50,000 in cash?" He didn't answer. "Dennis, where?" "The hospital research fund. Oncology department. I'm the administrator. I borrowed it." I stood up slowly. "You stole from cancer patients? Like the cancer that killed your father? It's not stealing. I'm going to pay it back." "How?" "You're about to lose your medical license. I'll figure it out." He threw the envelope on the floor. Money spilled out. $100 bills. "Just take it. Save Greg. He's your son. So are you," I said quietly. "And you're a thief, too." Dennis's face crumpled. "I was trying to help. Get out of my house." "Mom, get out!" He grabbed the money and ran. The marshal looked at me. "Mrs. Callahan, are you all right?" I nodded, knelt back down next to Gregory. He was staring at the carved message. "I'm going to prison for 20 years, aren't I?" "Probably. Do you hate me?" I thought about that. Really thought about it. "No," I said finally. "I hate what you did. I hate what you became. But I remember who you were. Before Stephanie. Before the greed. I remember the boy who helped his father carry bricks. Who learned to sew buttons when he was 9. Who cried when our dog died. That person's gone, Mom." "Is he?" I looked at him. "Or did you just bury him under so much garbage that you forgot he existed?" Gregory didn't answer. I stood up. My knees screamed. "I'm going to make you an offer. Once. You can take it or leave it." "What offer?" "I'll tell the prosecutor I want a reduced sentence. You'll plead guilty. You'll serve 5 to 7 years instead of 20. But when you get out, you're going to work for me." "Doing what?" "There's a nonprofit in Charleston. They rebuild homes destroyed by hurricanes for poor families who can't afford contractors. You're going to work for them, using the skills your father taught you, for free, until you've rebuilt enough houses to equal the value of what you stole from me. $380,500 worth. That'll take years." "Yes, it will. And you'll also pay me rent. 70% of whatever you earn after you're released. The other 30% goes into a fund for elderly fraud victims." Gregory stared at me. "You'd do that? You'd save me?" "I'm not saving you. I'm giving you a chance to save yourself." I moved toward the door. "But Gregory, understand this. If you take my offer and then betray me again, if you steal, if you lie, if you run, I will personally make sure you serve every single day of that 20-year sentence. Do you understand?" "Yes. Do you accept?" He looked at the message carved in the floor. His father's handwriting. Then back at me. "Yes, Mom, I accept." His voice cracked on the word Mom, like he hadn't said it honestly in years. "Good." I walked to the door, paused. "Your father would have been ashamed of what you did, but he would have been proud of what you're about to do." The marshal led Gregory back to the van. I stood in my empty house, the house Thomas built, the house I'd almost lost. Amanda appeared in the doorway. "You're really going to help him?" "I'm going to help the person he used to be find his way back." I looked at the kitchen floor, at Thomas's message. My husband spent his whole life building things, houses, furniture, people. I'm not going to let his son stay broken if I can fix him. And Dennis? Dennis made his choice. He can live with the consequences. What about you? What do you want? I walked through the empty rooms one more time, touched the walls Thomas had painted, the door frame where we'd marked the boys' heights every birthday. "I want my house back," I said. "I want to fill it with people who deserve it. And I want to watch my son, if he's smart enough to take this chance, become the man his father raised him to be. And if he fails, then I'll know I tried." I locked the door behind me. That's all any mother can do. 1 year later, March 2025. I'm writing this from my kitchen table at 847 Magnolia Street. The same table Thomas built in 1995. The same kitchen where I taught my sons to make pancakes. Gregory is in the backyard right now, teaching a man named Marcus how to measure wood for window frames. Marcus just got out of prison after 12 years. He doesn't know how to use a tape measure. Gregory is patient with him. This is what redemption looks like. Slow, unglamorous, real. Let me tell you how we got here. Gregory served 9 months in federal prison before his plea deal went through. I visited him twice a month. Every visit, he looked smaller. More like the boy I remembered. When he was released in December 2024, he moved into my house. Not as my son coming home. As a tenant. Room 2 upstairs. $100 a month rent. 70% of his income from the Charleston Hurricane Relief Coalition. He works 45 hours a week rebuilding homes destroyed by storms. He makes $18 an hour. After taxes and rent, he has about $340 left each month for food, clothes, bus fare. He takes the bus everywhere. No car, no phone. Those were conditions of my agreement. The first house he rebuilt was for a woman named Clarissa. She'd lost everything in a flood. Her husband had died 2 weeks before the storm. She had 3 kids under 10. Gregory spent 6 weeks on that house. Roof, walls, plumbing, electrical. His hands got calloused again, like his father's hands. When Clarissa moved back in, she cried. She hugged Gregory. "God sent you," she said. He told me later he'd cried too, in his truck, where no one could see. That's when I knew he might actually make it. Dennis didn't make it. The medical board revoked his license permanently, falsifying medical records, stealing from hospital research funds. He lost everything in 3 months. He's working at CVS now. Pharmacy technician, $14 an hour, no benefits. He came to my house last week, first time in a year. He looked terrible, 40 pounds heavier, gray in his beard, clothes from Goodwill. "Mom," he said at my door, "I need help." "What kind of help?" "Money, a place to stay. I'm being evicted. I can't," his voice broke, "I can't afford rent and child support." Sarah took the kids to her mother's. I haven't seen them in 4 months. I stood in the doorway, didn't invite him in. "You stole from cancer patients, Dennis. Patients like your father." I know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." He was crying. "Please, I'm your son." I went inside. Came back with a needle, thread, and a button jar. "What's this?" he asked. "Your father's sewing kit. If you want to come back into this family, you start by learning what he tried to teach both of you. Work with your hands. Fix things instead of breaking them. I don't understand. There are 6 men in my backyard right now learning to sew. Ex-convicts, addicts, men who destroyed their lives and are trying to rebuild them. If you want my help, you'll join them. You'll learn. You'll work. You'll earn back the trust you threw away." Dennis looked at the needle in my hand like it was a snake. "That's it? I have to sew? You have to start somewhere. Sewing buttons is where your brother started." He took the kit, hands shaking. "How long?" "Until you understand what you lost. Could be 6 months, could be 6 years. I started to close the door. "And Dennis, if you steal from me, from anyone in this house, or from any of the people we're helping, I'll make sure Sarah gets full custody and you never see your children again. Am I clear?" "Yes, ma'am." He sat on my porch for an hour, just holding the sewing kit. Finally, he walked to the backyard. I watched him introduce himself to Gregory. They didn't hug, didn't shake hands. Gregory just handed him a piece of scrap fabric and showed him how to thread the needle. That was 3 days ago. Dennis has sewn 47 buttons so far. Gregory counted. Stephanie went to prison. Not for the fraud. She successfully argued she didn't know about Gregory's schemes. The jury believed her. But 3 months after Gregory's trial, she tried the same scam in Tampa. Found an elderly man named Robert, 81 years old, widower. She befriended him, convinced him to sign over his condo, forged documents. Robert's daughter was an FBI agent. Stephanie was arrested in June 2024. Federal extortion charges. The prosecutor used Gregory's case as evidence of pattern behavior. She got 8 to 12 years. I didn't go to her sentencing. Gregory did. He came home and told me she'd glared at him the entire time, like it was his fault. She still doesn't think she did anything wrong, he said. But there's something else about Stephanie. She's out on work release now. Minimum security. She works at Denny's on Highway 17. Waitress. $11 an hour plus tips. She pays me $200 a month. Restitution for the money she spent that Gregory stole. At that rate, it'll take 18 years to pay back the full amount. Last Tuesday she came to my house, knocked on the door. I opened it. She looked different. No makeup, hair in a ponytail, Denny's uniform, name tag that said Stephanie. "What do you want?" I asked. "I want to apologize." She wouldn't look at me. "I know you don't believe me, but I'm trying to be different. They make me go to therapy. The therapist says I have narcissistic personality disorder, says I need to make amends." Is that what this is? An assignment? Yes. At least she was honest. But also, she finally looked up. "I destroyed your family. I destroyed Gregory. I almost destroyed you. And I need you to know that I see that now." I stood there, looking at this woman who'd called me demented, who'd filmed my grief, who'd profited from my pain. "Stephanie, I don't forgive you." She nodded. "I understand, but I won't stand in the way of you trying to become better. That's the best I can offer. That's more than I deserve." She turned to leave, paused. "Gregory's lucky to have you." She walked away, got into a beat-up Honda Civic with a dented bumper. I watched her drive off and felt nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, just tired. Now today, I'm sitting at my table watching Gregory work. He's teaching a class in my backyard. 6 men, all ex-convicts from a re-entry program. They're learning to rebuild homes and learning to sew. This morning, Gregory sewed a wedding dress. Not a whole dress, just alterations. But still. The bride was 23. Daughter of Patricia Morrison, now Patricia Vanderbilt. The woman who'd called me controlling a year ago. Patricia called me 2 months ago. Crying. Apologizing. She'd seen the news about Gregory, about Stephanie, about everything. "I should have helped you," she said. "After everything you did for me, I'm so ashamed." I didn't tell her it was okay, because it wasn't. But when she asked if I'd consider making her daughter's wedding dress, I said yes, for $800, market rate. She paid immediately, and she asked if Gregory could do the alterations. So this morning, my son, my 43-year-old son who once sold my house for his wife's OnlyFans debt, sat in my sewing room with a wedding dress on a mannequin, pinning the hem. His hands shook. He had tears running down his face. "You okay?" I asked. "I'm remembering," he said quietly. "You taught me to sew when I was 9. I made a pillow for Dad's birthday. It was lumpy and crooked, and he loved it. He kept it on his chair until he died. I have that pillow in my closet." Gregory looked up. "Really? Really?" He went back to pinning. "I threw away so much, Mom. So much that mattered. For so much that didn't. I know. Do you think Dad would have forgiven me?" I thought about Thomas, about the message he'd carved in the kitchen floor 36 years ago, about how he'd known even then that Gregory would need saving. "I think your father always knew you'd have to find your own way back," I said. "He just hoped you'd make it." Am I making it? I watched him work, careful, precise, using skills his father taught him, helping people instead of hurting them. Ask me in 5 years. Now it's 6 p.m. The sun is setting over Charleston, golden light through my kitchen window. Gregory is still outside. Marcus just cut his first board perfectly. Gregory's cheering, actually cheering, like Marcus won something important. Maybe he did. Dennis is on the porch sewing his 48th button. It's crooked. He's frustrated, but he's trying. My house isn't just mine anymore. It's a community center. Sewing classes on Tuesday nights, carpentry on Thursdays, legal aid clinic on Saturdays. Amanda comes once a month to help people with housing fraud cases. 17 families have been helped in the last year. 17 families who didn't lose their homes to con artists and greedy children. Is it enough? Does it fix what Gregory did? No, but it's something. Something real. Something his father would have built. Gregory looks toward the kitchen, sees me watching. He doesn't smile. Neither do I. But he nods. A small nod. Acknowledgement. Respect. He goes back to work. And I realize something. I didn't just rebuild my house this year. I'm rebuilding my son. One button at a time. What would you do if you were in my position? Would you have helped Gregory or let him serve the full sentence? Comment below and share your story. We read everyone,